Today on the newscast, the Israeli couple jailed in Turkey has been released, but Turkey's Erdogan remains a serious threat. Find out why next. Hey folks, Erick Stakelbeck here. Welcome to the Watchman Newscast. We've got some good news for you today, a follow-up on a story we first reported on this past Monday. That Israeli couple that was jailed last week in Turkey on false charges of espionage has been released. Morty and Naftali Bennett were released early this morning, Thursday, November 18th, by Turkish authorities. They had been jailed last week in Istanbul for taking photos. They were tourists, this married couple, taking photos of the presidential palace of Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. Now, these were exterior photos. They were doing what tourists do, taking photos like you would of the White House in Washington, D.C., or Buckingham Palace if you were visiting London. But that did not go over so well with Turkish authorities, and Turkish prosecutors were accusing them of espionage, military and diplomatic espionage, to be specific. Obviously, these were false charges. Both Naftali and Morty Bennett work for a bus company. They're drivers for this company in Israel, and they have appeared on commercials for this company over the past few years. Now, if you're a spy, you probably wouldn't want such a high public profile. So these were bogus charges from the beginning, folks, and yet this innocent Israeli couple spent 8 days in a Turkish jail. I love what one of them said upon their release. She said that this was a Hanukkah miracle. Hanukkah's about 1 week out right now, and they were in prison for 8 days, and now they are out. Again, we thought this may drag on, but they are free. The Israeli government sent a private jet early this morning to fly them back to Israel, and ironically enough, their hometown where they live is the city of Modin, which was the birthplace of the Maccabees, the heroes of the Hanukkah story. So a pretty cool twist there. Now, Israeli officials were working around the clock over the past 8 days, trying to secure these Israeli citizens released. Thankfully, they were successful. But this has been another chapter in an increasingly strained relationship between Israel and Turkey in the past decade in particular. That's why it was so interesting today that Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett called Recep Erdogan, the Turkish president, to thank him for helping to facilitate these Israeli citizens' release from a Turkish jail. Now, this was the first time since 2013 that an Israeli prime minister had called Erdogan. So 8 years had passed between direct communication between leaders from the two countries, and for good reason, folks. As we have documented many times here on the Watchman Newscast, Recep Erdogan is a very dangerous player in the region who has taken Turkey into a radical direction. Remember, his party, the AKP party, is essentially the Turkish branch of the Muslim Brotherhood. So Turkey under Erdogan's radical rule has moved away from the West and further to the East. Look no further than this week's meeting between the foreign ministers of Turkey and Iran in Tehran, in which the foreign minister of Turkey promised that Erdogan would pay a state visit to Iran very soon. And yet, Turkey is having serious economic troubles right now, including with their currency. So it's unclear what Erdogan's thinking was here in helping to secure the release of these prisoners, but we are glad they are home and back in Israel. But Erdogan remains a serious threat. I spoke to Ephraim Inbar of the Jerusalem Institute for Security Studies recently in Jerusalem, and he laid out why Erdogan is so problematic for Israel, the Middle East, and the West on a variety of fronts. Take a look. You're an expert on Turkey and what's going on there. What do you think of Erdogan, the Turkish president's, I'd say, increasing threats about Jerusalem? He really seems fixated on this city and in particular on the Temple Mount.
Erdogan is an anti-Semite, and he has been so since his childhood. He was very careful when he came to power in 2002, but the longer he is in power, he becomes more self-assured that he can get away with many things, partly because Americans allow him to do so. And indeed, he is obsessed not only with Al-Aqsa, which he sees himself as a future liberator of Jerusalem from Jewish rule, but also he is a patron of Hamas, Islamist terrorist organization. He is basically a Turkish version of the Muslim Brotherhood. Right. And he speaks about coming back, like Muslim conquerors to Jerusalem. He, of course, has neo-Ottoman dreams. He believes that he can eventually be back in the Balkans, of course, in the land of Israel, in Syria, in Iraq. And it's not only talk. He sends his troops to Syria. He sends his troops to Iraq. He sends his troops to Libya. He has troops in Qatar to defend Qatar, which is a bastion of Muslim Brotherhood. And he also tries to organize a Muslim army to liberate Jerusalem. It's still in the plans, but he has a dream to lead like Salah ad-Din.
Yes, the great conqueror.
Muslim army into Jerusalem. Yeah. And we have problems also in the Mediterranean with him, and Israel is careful not to risk a military confrontation at this stage with Turkey, because Turkey has a strong army. It's a big country. It's a strong army.
A NATO member.
It has the largest army in NATO, with the exception of the United States. Wow. So we don't want, an escalation with Turkey, but we try to establish an alliance to counter Turkish influence together with Greece, with Cyprus, and Egypt. Egypt, after Morsi, the Muslim Brotherhood president, was removed by General Assisi, became a rival of Turkey.
That's right.
It's a historic rival. And Assisi gets a similar treatment from Erdogan, almost as our president.
That's right. Ephraim, that's a great point. Erdogan did not like seeing his fellow Muslim brother, Mohamed Morsi, deposed from power. Last question, where do you think this is going with Erdogan? Do Israeli leaders, does the world really see this guy means business? Yes, there's a lot of rhetoric, but he's a dangerous guy. As you said, the second largest army in NATO. He's turning more and more into that he's turning to the east, Iran, Russia, China. This is a dangerous player on the world stage, and in particular in this region.
Turkey today is an anti-American force. Turkey, under Erdogan, maybe has reached its peak. If we take a look at the recent elections, he didn't do very well. And the economic situation now is not very good in Turkey. This was, to some extent, a key to the political ascent of Erdogan in Turkey. And in 23, they have new elections. They may hold them earlier. And we'll see if he's going to do as well as in the past. We should understand that Erdogan is an extremely skilled politician, a great orator, and he draws a lot of crowds. We'll see. The test will be in 23 if Turkey will continue to be a threat to the stability in this region or not.
He's playing the long game, Ephraim. As you said, hey, we know you will be keeping a close eye on it. Ephraim, thank you so much. It was great.
Welcome.
We appreciate it. Folks, if you like that interview and want to see more like it, check out our Watchman TV show on TBN. If you love the newscast, you will love our 30-minute weekly television program. You can check it out on TBN tonight, Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, and on Fridays at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Hey, the holidays are upon us, and we've got the perfect gift for the Israel lover in your life. Our good friends at Artza deliver a little piece of the Holy Land to your doorstep. Artza is a unique quarterly subscription box that features amazing products from a different city or region from Israel, all made in Israel by Israeli small businesses. They are now featuring a special Christmas box with 8 incredible products from Bethlehem, Nazareth, Jerusalem, and Galilee. With the holidays coming up, this is a great gift for anyone in your life who loves God's land and wants to bless Israel by supporting Israeli small businesses. Just go to artsabox.com and use the discount code WATCHMAN18 to get 18% off your Artsabox subscription. It's a good deal and a great product that we believe in, and we hope you enjoy it. Thanks for joining us here on the Watchman Newscast. Until next time, God bless you, and remember, never hold your peace. Hey everyone, thanks for checking out the Watchman Newscast. If you enjoyed this episode and want to see more, make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, click subscribe, and tap the bell icon to turn on notifications for new Watchman Newscast episodes every weekday.